Welcome back students for the classes of data manipulation and analysis. In that we learned the concept of database and now we will move to the practical session. For that we learn SQL. SQL is a structured query language. So we learn today SQL, the data types of the SQL and different language supported by the SQL. So let us start SQL. It is a structured query language. It is a one kind of computer language and it is used to store, manipulate and retrieve the data from the database. It is specially designed for managing the relational database management system and it is used for creation of the table, deletion of the table, fetching the row from the table, modify the row from the table like that. And it is based on the relational algebra, tuples relation calculations. Now, it required to create a new database, tables and views, to insert the records in the database, to update the records in the database, delete some records from the database and retrieve the data from the database. So, because of all these operations, we must be use SQL. In SQL, first of all, we have to create the table and the table contains different types of fields. When we create the tables and we assign the field, at that time we require the data type. So, we learn the data types of the SQL. Different types of data types supported by the SQL like string, numeric and date and time. So, data types is what? It is used to represent the nature of the data which can be stored in the database or table. For example, in a particular column of the table, we want to store a string. If we want to store a numeric data, if we want to store a date, then we have to decide and declare first which kind of data types are assigned to which kind of fields. So, data types are classified into three different string data types, numeric data types and date and time in SQL. There are various data types are there, but related to SQL, there is a string included character, varchar, varchar2 and text data type. String, that means contain the alphabets and numeric. In numeric data types, it only support integer, float, double and number. That is, it only supported the digits. Now, date and time data types contain date, time and many more, but we learn date data type from the date and time data types. Now, the first is what? First is the character data type. In that, required the size for a particular field over here. So, when you assign some data type, at that time you have to assign the size for a particular field. Okay. Now, what is a character? Character is a fixed length string and it contains 0 to 255 characters, but it allows alphabets, that means letters, numbers and special characters. But it is a fixed length and it contains only 0 to 55 character. Now, varchar. Varchar is a variable length and it also contains the alphabets, numbers and special character. But the size it contains and length is contained it from 0 to 65,535. It is more than character. Character and varchar both are different. So that's why varchar contains 0 to 65,535 characters. Same way varchar2. Now varchar and varchar2 two different data types, but varchar2 is used for padding and varchar does not contain the padding. Now varchar2 data type store a variable length and it also contains the numbers, digits, special characters, everything. But when you create a table with varchar, then you must specify the maximum string length and it contains up to the length of character. It contains the maximum length of bytes or character is 1 to 4000 bytes for the varchar2 columns. Now text. Text is what? Text is used for a text or combination of text and numbers that contain 255 characters. It's just like a character data type. Now, after that, integer. Integer, you know very well, it is used to store only the integer value. Float, that means a floating point, decimal numbers, and the float data type is specify the floating point numbers. And over here two different parameters are there, size and d. D is what? D is some digits which is required after the decimal point. So we have to write float like 10, 2. So it will contain the data type 10, 2. So like 35.00, like this. So this is the float data type. After the float, next is the double. Now double contain also two types of parameters like size and d. Same way, the size is the normal size of the floating point number, and the d is the number of digit after the decimal point. But compared to integer, it contains more size. Next is date. Date data type is used to store only the date, that is from 1 January and 4 digit 001 to December 31st and 4 digit, that is 9999. So date is used to store only the date values. So over here different types of data type like character and text, both are used for numeric values and character or string, but the main concept is it contains only fixed size length. Same way, varchar and varchar2 both are variable size length, but varchar2 is provide some padding and varchar is not provide the padding for the blank spaces. Now same way, integer, float, double and number. Integer is assigned only the integer value, float is assigned and double is assigned with the decimal point number. Then number is same like integer. Date and time data types contain date and it only support the date value. So this type of data types we are using to assign a attribute or to assign a data type for some attributes. Fine, all of you? Are you getting the data types of the SQL? Okay, thank you.